these are grand mysteries. It's part of what makes us human is not because we only care about questions because we can answer them, but because some of the most interesting and most important things to engage are the things that have been engaged by people long, long before us and that actually probably don't have simple answers. And that's okay. That's actually part of what it means to be human. One question that arises is it possible that minds really just need to be embodied? There's a contrast between two science fiction stories here. One is Her. Have you guys heard of that story? So that's the one on the right. You see, like, it's just a computer program, almost like an operating system that's conscious, right? So that's a disembodied artificial intelligence. And I would say the vast majority of artificial intelligence today is disembodied. Like what I was just talking about with the chemistry, disembodied. It's more like an operating system. In this case, it has consciousness. But I think we have to ask, is that even a coherent idea? And maybe it's not. On this other hand do you know who that is? That's Doris from Westworld. So Westworld is an HBO, so you guys are probably too poor to afford it. But it's a really good story. And what's going on here is that she looks like a human, right? She has a body, and she has a brain that actually is actually silicon or whatever they made it with. And the story is actually over a couple seasons of how they come to self-awareness. And it's a deeply embodied process. So they have multiple lives, so they keep on having their minds wiped. They have like memories that are given to them, but then there's also this memory that their body carries with them that ends up being really central to how this is done. And there's a lot of thought about even how, is it even really possible to make a truly intelligent machine if it doesn't have a sense of space and a sense of actually being embedded, for example, in a robot? Maybe it's not possible to have consciousness without having a body. There's another really great story, which is this is a historically significant moment because the second season came out today for Altered Carbon. Now you guys can afford Netflix, right? How many people here know about Altered Carbon? All right, more people know about that. So this is 3 bodies that all have the same mind. It's Takeshi Kovacs. And in this story, basically, there's this technology stolen from angels that allows people to put little things in the back of their neck and hop from body to body to body. And one of the core points, one of the few clear philosophical points in this incredibly philosophically interesting series is that immortality granted to fallen people is an incredibly evil thing. And so what happens is there's this people called meths, meths, right? That bounce from body to body to body. And they own everything, and they take everything. And you have to start wondering if they're even human anymore. Even though they have a human body and a human mind, are they even really human? It's so far from the human experience that you have to wonder. I mean, in a way they are encased in a body, but it's not really embodied in the way we think about it. And that's actually why I like an artificial intelligence so much. To be clear, there's no such thing as an artificial mind yet. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. But when we start thinking about these things, it really brings us to those grand questions that don't have an answer yet. And you might think because they don't have an answer, we shouldn't think about them, but I think it's actually the other way around. We start thinking about these questions, it brings us to this deep and powerful and meaningful dialogue that actually was around long before even artificial intelligence hit the scene. You go back just a little bit of time, Darwin introduced Origin of Species almost exactly 160 years ago. The equal co-inventor of evolution, or co-discoverer, I should say, of evolution with him, was Alfred Russel Wallace. And he liked the idea of evolution, but there was one point where Wallace, it's called Wallace's doubt, just couldn't get around making sense of it. And it's one of the grand puzzles again. He couldn't give an account of how the human mind arose by evolution. And it's still one of the grand puzzles to even figure out when it arose, how it arose, and it's certainly reasonable to wonder if there's more to it than that. You go back farther, this ties into even, I'm a Christian, it ties into a discussion about what exactly is the soul. These are grand mysteries. It's part of what makes us human is not because we only care about questions because we can answer them, but because some of the most interesting and most important things to engage are the things that have been engaged by people long, long before us and that actually probably don't have simple answers. And that's okay. That's actually part of what it means to be human.